Oh my God.
What are you doing, Charles?
I'm bouncing on the bed. Come on in, I'll show you some of my books. This is my very first book. I started in 1966 when I first went to New York. I was about 23 years old or something. It came out in 1975, 9 years later. And along the way, William Burroughs decided to do the text for me. So it's a cockhead on the cover, by the way, from San Francisco, although this is a New York book. So I dedicated the book to William. Here's the dedication page. Here he is at home in London with his e-meter, which is kind of a lie detector. And I put several new Burroughs photographs in here for the Burroughs fans as a way of remembering him and thanking him. Here's Burroughs and Brian Geisen with the Dream Machine. And here's another Burroughs picture back here of Burroughs and the Dream Machine. So this book documents the tail end of the 60s turning into the 70s, and the peace and love part was kind of over. And it was actually kind of a savage, weird, crazy, mixed up, confrontational time. Really a lot of strange energy in the air. So this is a little bit of everything. It's kind of a reportage on New York in the early 70s. This is a gallery opening at the Museum of Erotic Art. Some pictures from Mardi Gras. I went to Mardi Gras probably 15 times over the years. More Mardi Gras. Look at this drunk couple. He looks like he's having a ball. She looks like she wants to get sick. Most of this work is shot in the street. Look at this shot in Chicago of the cop spitting in the trash can. Your city, keep it clean. Woo. I was trying to take the perfect candid. Also, a lot of these pictures obviously have a really political edge to them that I don't really have in my work today. They're not just documents. They're statements about how I was feeling and what I was angry about and what I was caring about at the time.
What were you shooting with?
These are all shot with an old Leica. I had two Leica M2s. Later I started using Canons more and other cameras, Nikons. I'll show you my old Leica if I can find it. So this is still my favorite book. This is a wacky book, and it has a certain kind of edgy energy, and it's authentic. It's not posed, and it's not false or fake. It's so real it kind of hits you in the face. I really like that. My first nude party, 1966.
Woo, you've come a long way since then. How many nude parties do you think you've been to now?
Oh,
or sex parties?
2 or 3.
Oh.
On the street in Mardi Gras. This is pretty wild. And so on. Okay, book number 2, I shot at the same time as this, is very different. This is Wall Street. I got a grant from the New York State Arts Council to shoot this. I got another grant to finish it, and then when I finished it, I got the Leica Medal of Excellence for doing it, which is pretty cool. So this is not exactly the wonderful world of Wall Street. It's dark and dangerous and scary. It's kind of like capitalism, the dark side of capitalism. It's funny, I did this book. I worked on this for 4 years. I lived in the neighborhood. I lived just a few blocks from Wall Street. So I was able to go down there all the time and shoot these pictures. And I was still trying to figure out my style. I was young and I was trying to figure out what I was meant to do. And this is also one of my favorite books, but it's so unlike anything that I've done either before or since. But this has got some cool stuff in it.
It seems like all the figures are any man.
Well, I tried to make them like little robot guys. They're interchangeable. I mean, look
exactly.
At this guy. He could be any of those other guys. And then at the end, there's that, you know, that's kind of the end. It's not a pretty picture. Actually, it has a lot of 9/11 in it. You know, this is doom and gloom and disaster. It's also got some humor in it. You know, some of it's kind of funny. So, let's see. In the late 70s, I kind of went into inner space, and I started doing pictures that are more personal and more posed. This is Spiderweb, a tattooist, and a buddy of mine with the tattooed fetus. A friend of his stole the fetus from a hospital specimen room and traded it for a tattoo. And oh my God, this picture's caused a lot of trouble.
What trouble?
Well, we had a show scheduled at the Nykrug Gallery in New York, and this picture was in the Village Voice announcing the show. And as soon as it came out, the gallery got firebomb threats and calls from the Attorney General's office, and the gallery director freaked out, canceled the show, and we got in some trouble over this.
What year was that again?
81, something like that, about 20 years ago.
Wow.
The introduction is by R. Crumb, who's a buddy.
Mm-hmm.
We trade work sometimes. Here's a picture of me and the young Annie Sprinkle on my deck in Woodstock. And I'm photographing her photograph me, and we're both playing and we're both getting high, and the quote is from my divorce papers from my first wife, and the quote says, "He spent his evenings and nights getting pictures or posing for pictures of an unpublishable nature." Oh my goodness. And there we're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of snapshots of radical sex stuff, heavy piercing, weird tattoo characters. Fakir and Annie. This is in 1980. I met Fakir at Annie's house at a sprinkle salon. He was just coming out of the underground then with his modern primitive ideas, which, as you know, changed everybody's thinking and behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Annie Sprinkle, the young Annie.
Well, it's interesting to me because from Wall Street, where the individuals didn't matter, this later work seems to be all about individuals.
Well, it is, and this is a conscious choice I made, and I've been going in this direction ever since, and I've never done any more Wall Street sort of work. Here's a chapter about me getting a poppy tattooed on my butt. A character named Lord Balkan, one of Spider's subjects. And more of Spider's work. We shot this one in Amsterdam in an after-hours club called Chez Nelly. The rose tattoo. He tattooed this guy using the rose thorn to push the pigment into the skin.
Wow.
It's a takeoff on the whole idea of the rose tattoo. So this is a cool book. This is the second edition. The first edition totally sold out, and I reprinted it in 1992. Now, this is some of my best stuff.
Mm-hmm.